Welcome to the latest episode of Smarter Podcasting with me, Neil Mackay, the podcast guy. Now, unless you've been living under a cave, you've probably heard all about AI by now and how it's either going to destroy us or it's going to make our lives so much better. Either way, if you're like me, you're probably thinking the same thing. How can I use AI to make my podcast better? So in this episode, I'm diving into the world of artificial intelligence in podcasting. And trust me, this isn't just some boring tech talk. I'm going to be talking about how AI can make your podcast sound better than ever before and your life so much easier. So get ready to learn how to use AI to transcribe your episodes, create amazing sounds, and even generate show notes automatically. It's like having a magical robot assistant for your podcast. And I'll also discuss some of the potential pitfalls of relying too heavily on AI and how to avoid them. I'm also going to be joined by a special guest today from a brand new company that is at the forefront of using AI to create all the marketing assets that you need for your show. He's going to share with you how this works, what it can do for you, and how it will save you hours and hours of time. So buckle up and join me on this journey to the future of podcasting with AI. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, there's something here for everyone. So let's dive in and explore the exciting world of AI in podcasting. One of the most exciting developments in recent years has been the integration of AI technology in podcast production and distribution. So I'm excited to share with you how you can leverage AI to create better content, streamline your production process, and grow your audience. As a podcast host, comedian, and teacher, I've been working in this industry for years, and I've seen firsthand the incredible impact that AI can have on podcast production and delivery. From improving audio quality, like the audio you're listening to right now, to generating the show notes that you're probably going to read, and even helping me come up with the ideas. AI has the potential to revolutionize the way we create and share podcasts. But why does it matter? Well, for starters, you probably know already, the podcast industry is booming with more and more people tuning in to their favorite shows every day. And with so much competition out there, it's becoming increasingly important to create high quality content that stands out and engages listeners. This is where AI comes in, providing podcasters like you with the tools and the resources you need to create more engaging, informative, and entertaining shows than ever before. So I'll be diving deep into the topic of using AI for your podcast, exploring the potential applications and benefits, as well as the challenges and what tools that you can use too. I'll provide an overview of how podcasters can use AI in their shows, and I'll explore the different types of AI technologies available to you and the benefits that they provide. I've personally experienced the benefits of using AI in my shows. From automated transcription to editing, these technologies have helped me save time and improve the quality of my content. With the rise of AI in podcasting, it's an exciting time to be a content creator, and I'm really excited to share my insights with you. What is AI? It's short for artificial intelligence, a broad term that encompasses a wide range of technologies from washing machines to mobile phones that can simulate human intelligence and perform tasks that really normally require human cognition. In podcasting, AI can be used to automate admin such as the transcription, editing, and even content creation. This technology can help podcasters save time while improving the quality of their content. AI can help improve audio quality by automatically removing background noise or adjusting audio levels to create a polished sound. The audio that you're listening to right now was enhanced with AI using Descript studio sound technology. This revolutionized podcasting for me. I used to have to send off my audio file to my producer, wait for him to send it back to me. When they released studio sound, I tried it, sent it to my music producer, and I said, "Can you make this any better?" He said no. So thankfully, he's my friend and we're still good friends. But AI in this instance literally put him out of a very small part-time job for him. So this is amazingly useful for podcasters who don't have access to a professional studio or sound engineering expertise. So this is why I really recommend Descript for podcast editing. Not only is it amazing and easy to use, the studio sound will completely revolutionize your podcasting too. Another useful application of AI in podcasting is the creation of transcripts. When I first started podcasting, if you wanted to have a transcript of your episode, you would have to pay somebody a pretty decent amount of money to listen to your episode and completely transcribe it automatically, or do it yourself. Now, over the years, AI tools can automatically generate transcripts that can be used for closed captions, show notes, quotes, or even SEO purposes, search engine optimization. AI can also be used to generate the show notes, which if you go to this episode, these show notes were generated by AI, saving me the time and bother of writing them, which will also save you so much time and effort. The show notes provide a summary of each episode's content, and it will help listeners decide whether to tune in or not. AI-powered tools will analyze the audio and automatically create show notes that accurately reflect the episode's topics and themes. I've been using these for so long now, it seems so normal for me to upload an audio file and have the transcription automatically. And I have to remember back when that was an amazing task. We get so amazed and carried away by the technology that it seems normal. And these are just a few examples. It can also be used for content recommendations. When planning out this season, I worked with ChatGPT, fed it all the information and said, what should I talk about in this season? And it gave me a whole bunch of ideas, which I took my favorite ones. So in short, AI has the potential to revolutionize the way we create, produce, and distribute podcasts, making it easier and more efficient than ever before. When it comes to podcasting, you'll know, just like I do, that there are a lot of moving parts to keep track of. From recording and editing to engaging with your audience, it can be a lot of work. That's where AI comes in. It can make your life easier and your episodes better. So one of the biggest benefits of using AI in podcasting is the time and effort it can save you. Hosts like Buzzsprout now let you dynamically insert ads in the middle of the show at an appropriate time. This creates more advertising opportunities and ultimately can help you make more money. But most of all, as I mentioned, AI can help improve the quality of your podcast. There are already successful shows that have used AI to their advantage. So for example, The Daily by the New York Times uses AI to help identify the most engaging stories and topics for the listeners. Meanwhile, Wild Tech uses AI to generate show notes and timestamps for their episodes, making it easier for listeners to find and revisit their favorite parts of the show. So overall, incorporating AI into your podcasting workflow can offer many benefits that can ultimately lead to a better podcast and a more engaged audience. So when it comes to using AI in podcasting, there are a number of tools and resources available that can help podcasters create more engaging and accessible content. So here are some of the top AI tools that I have used. So as I mentioned already, Descript. I don't think I could run my podcast without Descript. It made it so much fun, so much easier, and I cannot recommend it enough. One of the main features is the automatic transcription, where Descript's transcription engine converts audio and video recordings into text with a high accuracy. How high? Even with my Scottish accent, it is still nearly right most of the time. I'm impressed with how accurate it is, and it also learns over time, so the more that I've been using it, the more it understands what I'm saying. If I have an American guest on my show or an English accent, it will transcribe it almost 100%. This is a powerful editing tool that allows you to edit the audio just by manipulating the text-based transcript. If you can edit a Google Doc, you can edit with Descript. It also lets you remove all those annoying filler words like from recordings automatically, which saves so much time during editing. Descript also offers AI-generated voiceovers where you can create your own ultra-realistic voiceover where it will mimic your voice, or you can choose from a range of stock voices. If you go over to my other channel, A Vietnam Podcast, you can see on there where I was able to use ChatGPT and a Descript voiceover to interview me for a podcast. The link, of course, is in the show notes. Descript's AI can also analyze recorded audio to identify different speakers and then generate speaker labels, which again makes it easier for you to edit the audio file. Descript now leverages AI in so many ways to streamline the podcast editing process and provide you with more advanced editing tools. I am an affiliate partner with Descript, but not because of that. I recommend them because they are amazing. So if you do want to go and try Descript for free, of course, again, the link is in the show notes. Go check it out. And if you do sign up to a fully paid subscription, then I will get a small commission thanks to being an affiliate partner. Another AI tool you might have heard of is called otter.ai, which is a speech-to-text transcription that uses AI to create accurate transcripts of your episode. It also has a number of features like keyword search, highlighting, and collaboration tools that make it easy to edit and share the transcripts. You can't use otter.ai though for editing the audio file itself, but if you do want to get a transcription, it's a great service. Now, the AI that has really spawned this new revolution in AI technology, and one I cannot live without anymore, and that of course is ChatGPT. I've used ChatGPT to generate ideas for new podcast episodes and content, titles, show notes, and even the script for podcasts like this. Meta, I know. I even made an episode of a podcast using ChatGPT and Descript together. As I said, go check it out on a Vietnam podcast where ChatGPT interviews me. By using natural language processing and machine learning algorithms, ChatGPT can help to spark creativity and generate fresh content ideas. Now, don't worry, it won't replace you. It will just help you get more done quicker. This can help you to focus on continuing to create high quality content without having to spend as much time on all that admin. Now, these next three tools, they're pretty new to the market at the time of making this video in April 2023. So I'm still waiting to see how they'll all improve and if one of them will become the gold standard for this service. There's also more and more similar tools appearing with the advent of AI. So these next three tools all help with the marketing of your podcast and all do similar things. One of them is called Dub. You may have heard of it. Now, unfortunately for Dub, while it does provide some good content for Twitter, the videos that it gives you based off of the text and the suggestions, they're all pretty basic, and I've tried out a couple of their videos. They don't get much engagement either. The best videos for engagement is you. It also gives you a blog post based on the input, but it's far too short to be ever useful for your website or for SEO. The results are also delivered by email, which is a bit different, and there doesn't seem to yet be a dashboard where you can get access to them. This would definitely be really helpful. Another one I tried recently was called Capsule, and this is an AI copywriting tool which has been designed just for podcasters. So it allows you to upload your audio files and then get an array of features including episode titles, descriptions, show notes, blogs, emails, social media captions, LinkedIn articles, I'm not finished, quotes, transcripts, and it's all created in under 10 minutes. This can obviously save you hours and hours of work for every episode and help you spend more time creating content. So while I use Capsule, the title and the episode description and the podcast website content provided are really good. I really like them. It also gives you the key moments and the time of them, which I think was great, and you could use these to make episode chapters. The blog post, though, again, is too short to be of any use for SEO. And some of the features seem not to be working, like the LinkedIn post and the codables. Maybe that was just for me, but I tried it a couple of times. The email, though, that they provided is excellent, and I instantly used it. So there was a lot of positives for Capsule, and the layout was really easy to use. But my pick and my favorite is podcastmarketing.ai. It generates marketing assets for episodes in minutes, similar to Capsule, and similarly, it will give you the transcript, show notes, episode titles, episode descriptions, social media posts, and quote cards. The reason I liked it the most was one, that it worked. It gave me all the assets that I needed, and the dashboard was really simple and easy to use. Again, the platform uses AI-powered speaker recognition technology, and they give a guarantee it will be 99% accurate. I haven't checked that out against the Scottish accent, but it looked pretty accurate to me, and that's really impressive. What I liked was it provided tailored social media posts for Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram, which really helps you maximize your reach and engage your audience faster and more effectively. But what I liked the most was the quotes that it generated for use on social media. I instantly put these into a template that I made on Canva, and you can see it right here as an example of one of the quotes that I made that I was able to post on my social media. The show notes are okay, but at this stage, I still feel I could probably write them myself. And as I mentioned, it also gives great content for each different platform. There is a cost for each of these, of course, and it depends on how many episodes you want to use per month, and it varies from just a few dollars up to $50, $60 a month if you're going to be doing multiple episodes. But when looking at the price, just think about the cost of your time to do these tasks manually versus the cost it takes for the program to do it. If for the price of a few dollars it's going to save you money, then I would completely recommend using one of these products. And for me, I would recommend podcastmarketing.ai. One of the things I liked about podcastmarketing.ai as well was as soon as you log in, you get a little chat bot comes up and wants to talk to you and asks you for feedback. And so I chatted away. And then I realized it was actually Praveen, who was the CEO and founder of podcastmarketing.ai. And so I thought, well, he would be a great person to interview on this podcast. So I thought, let's get him on. So I went back, opened up the chat bot, and I said, hey, are you there? He said, yes. I said, how do I know you're not just an AI chatbot? You are using AI. He's like, believe me, I promise you, it's me. I said, okay, message me on WhatsApp then. I gave him my number, and sure enough, he messaged me on WhatsApp. So I want to know more from Praveen, how they use AI technology to set this up, and what is the future of podcastmarketing.ai. So thank you very much for joining me today, Praveen from podcastmarketing.ai. Praveen, awesome to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on Smarter Podcasting. As I mentioned, podcastmarketing.ai right now is my number one tool for building marketing assets. So tell us, first of all, I think a lot of people wonder, how does AI work?
AI is, to give a bigger picture, is a language model. So it knows everything about English, to be specific. Just like how we learn from childhood. We first learn about the language, which is English, the grammar, and then we learn about subjects, right? We learn about science, we learn about mathematics, and other stuff. So what OpenAI, for example, did is they created a model, neural network, it is called, and they trained it on English, specifically the grammar, in how to structure sentences, and what is humor, what is not, all this stuff. And then they trained the model on all the subjects, which is available on the internet. So if you go to Google and search for something like how space shuttles work, we'll get all the information. We'll get the links. We go through the links and we read the links, and that's how we understand or learn about a certain topic on the internet. AI also does the same thing, but it is automated, so it can do it at a vast scale than a single human can do. So OpenAI trained their language models on that, and now they released it called GPT 3.5, 3.5, and then 4, which is the current version. So it's all, if you see it in this perspective, it took time to learn more. And when it learns more and gets the feedback from the user, it will understand better and can produce better outcomes, outputs. That's what OpenAI does. That's what any other language model in the internet right now does. So that's the intro about AI.
That's really interesting because I didn't know really any of that. So is your model based off of Chat GPT?
So yeah, right now we are powered by ChatGPT. OpenAI is the main base, but we also use multiple AI tools, and we are also building our own language model just specifically for podcasting. But yeah, it will take time because we need to train that on everything related to podcasting. So yeah, again, OpenAI based. But we have fine tuned it. So there is something called fine tuning in OpenAI where you can create a branch of their main AI, ChatGPT. We can create a branch. We can train it on whatever we want to. So I'm training it on podcasting, creating show notes specifically. And then I'm using that model to create the show notes that you guys see on Podcast Marketing AI.
The stuff just blows my mind. I'm just sitting here smiling. Like I feel like so I'm 40 years old. I remember life before the internet. I mean, I know some people who don't know what life was like before Wi-Fi. I remember
Right.
life before the internet. And then now it just feels since the release of ChatGPT, we've just gone like it's the next revolution in the internet. And you explain more. What do you mean you're training it?
So by training it, there is two things. One is input and one is output, right? So we give let's say there is a toddler, right? So how do we train them? We give them an input. So say dada, and maybe they will say dada back, or they will say mama sometimes, right? So we train them, we give them feedback. Okay, it's not mama, it's dada. So the same way we are training this AI model. So we give them the input, we give the model the input, which is the transcript. And we also tell the AI what is the expected output, right? So instead of asking the model to generate the output, we are also giving the output so it can match and understand what the transcript is and why we are structuring the output, which is, for example, the show notes in this way, right? So it understands that. And whenever we train this at high scale, like we are training it at 200, 300 transcripts and episodes at a time. By till now, I had trained it on 250 around episodes, along with the transcripts and the show notes. So it understands what is a show notes is and how to structure it and different formats of show notes. And whenever you give one more transcript, it knows exactly what to do and how to spit out a good show notes. And that's what it is doing right now. So the training model is all about giving the input and telling the AI model what is expected output so it can understand it and, produce it multiple times.
It all seems so simple. Like you make it
Right.
sound so easy. And then as a user, it's so simple. Like I think this is why it's such a revolution because as a user, you just input the data or whatever. When I use ChatGPT, I mean, even I learned how to train ChatGPT by feeding it information and the results. And I was like, wow, this is completely amazing. It was giving me blog posts, like quoting me. I told it who I was. I gave it a couple of articles about me. And then it was like Neil Mackay from 7 Million Bikes podcast says, and it gave a quote that was like almost exactly something that I would say. And I was like, this
Right.
is insane.
Absolutely, yeah, because it understands what kind of things we are going to expect. For example, it specifically looks for keywords, right? So if the conversation is all about a topic, and it also looks at the sentiment of the conversation. So whether is it hilarious or is it something related to something serious or is it legal? It understands the different contexts and the sentiment of that particular conversation, and then writes the show notes based on that. Again, it's not 100% there. There are a lot of issues that are going to pop up. You might not get the same output every single time, but it is a work in progress. It's pretty new technology, and it takes time to get to a stable version where we can expect and where we can be sure that it gives the same kind of output every time. But yeah, it is almost there. I think 90% there. That because it came into our hands of the common people like you and me, and we are able to use a big language model, um, which is pretty good. And OpenAI made it popular. There are a few AI models previously before OpenAI, but they didn't give that kind of stability. By that, I mean the predictability of the output. But OpenAI made it predictable, made it more stable, and then made it cheaper so everyone can use it. Yeah.
You're saying we're already 90% of the way there. And from what I understand, what you're saying is it's just going to keep getting better and better and better the more it learns. So, how long are we talking until it's 100%? What are the possibilities with AI for podcasting?
So the possibilities of AI in general are vast. But when we need to talk about podcasting in specific, so what like it automates everything that we are going to do manually in podcasting, because again, podcasting is also a new kid in the corner, right? Because there are content websites from past 10-15 years, so it's pretty matured, affiliates, all that stuff. There is video. YouTube is pretty matured. People know how to make videos and how to rank it on Google, all that stuff. But podcasting, it's, I think, 4 or 5 years back, no one really heard much podcast. But now podcasting is gaining popularity, and people are listening to it. So there are issues that are coming up within the podcasting space, especially discoverability, right? So when you search something on Google, and if there is a podcast related to that, Google doesn't show much of it. Yeah, it does show, it is showing it right now. You can see a few podcasts here and there, but it doesn't prioritize podcasts, especially because Google is a text-based search engine, is primarily, and podcasts are audio-based content format primarily. So the two things doesn't match, and that's where the marketing assets like show notes, description, all that content comes in. So we can feed Google with the data, so Google can show us when someone searches for it. Now, this kind of a transition from audio to text, generating those text materials, and for social media, generating social media content, for example, animated audiograms for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and code cards, the ones that you are creating, the images. These things are for social media. The text is for Google, so people can discover your podcast, right? So the discoverability thing is something AI can solve. In my opinion, AI can solve it. And when it is at a position where it can solve and make it cheaper and accessible, then the entire podcasting industry rises, because everyone can do it. So more production of quality episodes and more people involving into podcasts, right? So the discoverability phase is something AI can completely fix, solve. And then there is also one thing which is uh, only experienced podcasters know, which is preparation for an episode, right? You want to talk about a topic, and you have to do a lot of research about the topic. And you want to find out the influencers in that space. You want to reach out to them, maybe send a mail, all that stuff. So this entire process of sourcing guests, figuring out the topics, and creating an outline for the episode is manual right now, and it's time consuming. So that is something I think AI can automate, which makes it easier for podcasters.
Just putting this episode together has just reminded me how much AI has changed podcasting for me. Even before OpenAI and ChatGPT, I've been using Descript now for a couple of years. And I forget about what editing was like before Descript. It was painful. I was using GarageBand. I was just looking at an audio wave. You had to find the words, cut it out. I really didn't do much editing because it was just so painful. And it's still, I remember one night when I first started the podcast, just staying up all through the night to get it ready for the next day. And getting a transcript was, you wouldn't even think about doing that because you would have to pay somebody a lot of money to sit and listen to it. There was no AI service for it. And again, it's kind of like the pre and post internet. You forget what it was like pre internet. I forget now what it was like pre getting a transcript in a heartbeat. Now being able to edit for a transcript. And then now services like yourself have taken that transcript and gone next level and gone, hey, we can. So tell people listening, what exactly can you produce from that audio for the podcaster?
All right. So when we look at the discoverability phase, so what exactly we produce, podcast marketing AI specific, is that we create a transcript. So there's a transcript that we're generating, which recognizes the speakers, and you can name those speakers. We create a show notes, which is, again, as I said, there are multiple formats. So there is also a format that you might like, and you can generate a show notes. And then there is a descriptions. We create episode description. So what is the difference between a show notes and a description? The main difference is that show notes follows a format. There is some information on top, intro about the episode. There is entities mentioned. There are topics covered. So that's the format most show notes are. Description on the other side is just a bulk of text, to be specific, but it describes the podcast, and it rushes the user to listen to the episode. So it's all about what this is the podcast. This is the episode is about. Go listen to it. All right. So people who don't want the show notes format usually prefer descriptions. And then there are title suggestions, which you can, for the episode, which you can build and maybe choose one or two of them. And then you can generate quote cards, which is basically the quotes from the entire episode. So when you are recording an episode, when you are speaking with a guest, sometimes you feel that, okay, so this is quote worthy, right? Okay, so the guest said something which is useful. It might be 50, 60 words or less, but you'll record it. You think that you will note it down, but you'll forget usually, right? And going back, listening to the entire episode, extracting those quotes, it's time consuming, it's hard, right? So the AI will do it for you. So it will take the quotes, it will figure out what kind of a quote, it know pretty much what is a quote, right? So it extracts those quotes and give it to you. So you can see, okay, and make those changes and use those quotes from the episode itself. And then the big part, which is the social media, right? You create all these episodes, you do all the hard work without discoverability. All those are wasted time. So social media, you want to promote it on social media. So what podcast marketing AI does is it can create social media posts platform specific, right? Which are platform specific. So you want a Facebook post, it can do that. You want a Twitter post, which has a character limit to 80 characters. It can also do it. Same with Instagram and LinkedIn posts. You can create any kind of post and for any platform using podcast marketing AI. Now, a recent feature that I have just launched a few days back is fine tuning. So what is fine tuning? So a lot of users ask me, okay, so I got the show notes, I got these descriptions and social media posts, but I want to make changes, right? I don't want to be stuck with this. I don't want to take this. I have few changes, and editing it manually defeats the purpose of AI, right? Why should I use an AI if I am editing it manually? So there is a fine tuning feature that I launched where you can click a button and literally chat with the AI. You can tell it, ask it to add emojis, right? Okay, add emojis to this show notes. It will add relevant emojis. You want to change the perspective from you as a host to the guest. Maybe you want a show notes written from the guest. You can ask it to change the perspective, and it will change the perspective and write the show notes for you. So there are a lot of things that people are using the fine tuning for, and I'm fascinated by the prompts that they are putting out. Asking the AI, and they are wonderful because everyone has their own unique use case that I didn't think of, right? So yeah, it's fascinating, and people are liking it.
As I said, my mind is just absolutely blown. I feel like an old dinosaur that all of this. I'm like, but there are people I know there's somebody I know who's like, I'm not going to use Chat GPT. And some people don't want to embrace it. I guess they're scared or for whatever reason that is. But I'm embracing it fully. And it's in a very short time. As I said, I was already using AI tools like Descript before, now with Chat GPT and now your service. So I use the social media assets. I had not posted anything on LinkedIn about my podcasts since I started years ago. Like LinkedIn, I have a profile, but I just never use it because it's not something I have time for, basically. Like I'm not going to spend time on something like that because it's not my main avenue. But then with your tools, I was like, well, it's giving me a free LinkedIn post. I might as well use it. So I went back into my LinkedIn profile, posted it, to be honest, I haven't even looked back to see how it's done, but I'm going to start doing it now because you're doing something that can be created in an instant instead of a long time. So, no, it's unbelievable. I think I gave you feedback. One thing I would love to see the most is you could upload a video of your podcast and it then gives you those quotes, but it gives you the video format in a
Mm.
portrait mode. Because, like yesterday, I probably spent about 2 hours going through one of my episodes, creating these portrait modes to then use on TikTok and Reels and YouTube Shorts and things like that. I'm sure that's coming because that for me would be the next level that I can just press a button and then it gives me 10 shots all ready to go. Like literally would save me hours and hours of work.
Absolutely. So those are the things, I'm focusing heavily on social media because that is where you can promote your posts, your episodes. And with if you have a video format, video podcast, uh, ability to condense, extract 1 minute segments, which are called shorts
Mm.
on YouTube, and have those captions, animated captions on the video, and all of this being done automatically, and plus the ability to edit it if there are any changes, tremendously makes it easy for podcasters, not even for podcasters, but also YouTubers who are video heavy to produce more content and make it easier, makes their lives easier. So that is something the future of podcast marketing AI would be, which is heavy on video and graphic creation. Because yeah, writing content is great. Having the text written for you is great. But if you cannot use it on social media or show it to someone, you can't show text to someone every time. So visuals are the way that we consume content. Visuals are the way social media algorithms work. So that's where podcast marketing AI is going to be, where you can just upload your episode. Again, all these assets will be automatically generated. You can also generate code cards where, the code cards that you have designed along with the code that is generated. So whenever you make any changes here, the graphic will be updated. So you can just download the graphic and use it on social media. And as you said, if it is a video podcast, video shorts. If it is an audio podcast, animated audio shorts, ability to generate all them automatically, and you then select it. That just makes the podcaster's life much, much easier.
Praveen, I've got to go finish this episode and then make all these assets using podcastmarketing.ai. So thank you so much for sharing all of this information. It's incredible.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Nate.
So with all of these tools, they all provide a transcript. But if you're already using Descript as an editing software, then this isn't much of an added benefit. While all of these tools can be incredibly helpful for podcasters, it's important to note that they do come with some drawbacks. Relying too heavily on AI tools can sometimes result in a loss of personal touch or authenticity in a podcast. Not to mention, you could enter some grammatical errors or typos, which will again bring down that authenticity. So if you are using AI, make sure you check it. AI is definitely not at the stage where you can just put in your audio, click a button, and then suddenly it's all done for you, but it will help you do everything quicker. So it's really important to find a balance between using AI tools and then using your own unique voice and perspective. So I'll tell you, how do you use AI effectively? Just remember that it is a tool. It's not a replacement for your own creativity and personality. It's to augment your content, not to completely take over. A potential pitfall to watch out for is relying too heavily on AI-generated content. So while it may be tempting to use AI to create entire episodes, this can definitely lead to a lack of authenticity and personal touch. Remember, your listeners tune in to hear from you, not some AI robot. And as I mentioned, when using AI for transcription, make sure to double check the accuracy of the transcripts and correct any errors. AI is not perfect and you don't want to misrepresent yourself or your guest. Using AI in podcasting though, as I've mentioned time and time again, can be such a great way to save time and streamline your processes. But it's important to use it effectively and appropriately. There are several challenges and limitations of using AI for podcasts. AI can only work with the data that it has been trained on. This means that if your podcast has a unique format or subject matter, it may be difficult to find AI tools that are specially trained for that type of content. Additionally, AI tools do cost money, and some of them do require technical expertise to set up and use. So this can be a barrier if you're working on a really tight budget, or you just don't have the skills or the time to be able to learn this production process. And finally, of course, there are some ethical concerns around the use of AI in podcasts, such as the issues related to privacy, bias, and ownership of data. So it's important for you as a podcaster to be aware of these issues and make sure you take steps to address them when using them. So, what's the future of AI in podcasting? Well, as it continues to evolve, you can expect it to become an even more integral part of the podcasting industry. One exciting trend to keep an eye on is personalized content creation. Imagine an AI system that could analyze listener data and then create custom episodes tailored to each individual's interests and preferences. Another trend is the use of voice assistants, such as Amazon Alexa or Google Home, to listen to podcasts hands-free. To stay ahead of the curve, podcasters should continue to educate themselves about the latest AI tools and techniques. And don't be afraid to experiment with new technology, but also be mindful of the potential pitfalls and ethical concerns. So, as you can tell by now, AI has the potential to revolutionize the podcasting industry and enhance the listener experience. By using AI tools and techniques effectively, podcasters can streamline their workflow, improve the quality of their content, and reach new audiences. But it's important to remember that AI is not a substitute for human creativity or authenticity. So keep experimenting, push the boundaries of what's possible, but always stay true to your unique voice and your unique vision. Happy podcasting. Good luck using AI tools. If you do have any feedback, then make sure you leave a comment. And I think it's such a cliche to make sure that you subscribe, turn on the notifications, all of that. You know what to do. If you want to follow the channel, you know where to find us. Smarter Podcasting. And if you need help starting your podcast, or you want to take your existing podcast to the next level, then look no further than 7 Million Bytes Podcast. With years of experience in the industry and a passion for producing high quality content, we have what it takes to make your podcast a success. So don't settle for a mediocre podcast that fails to engage your audience. With my help, I can help you create a podcast that not only entertains, but informs and inspires your listeners. So what are you waiting for? Contact me today. You can find my details in the show notes and take that first step to producing the podcast of your dreams. Thanks for listening. Cheers.